Hello friends, before the dictation starts, let me tell you that there was some disturbance after 8 minutes and the volume will slightly go down. Just be prepared. Thank you. Please get ready for a dictation of transcription number 328 and 329 from Sir Kailash Chandra magazine. 5 seconds. Start. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I am thankful to the honourable members, opposite and also on this side of the House, for participating in the debate on this very simple amending measure that I have put before the House. They have all supported the amending bill for increasing the time of takeover of sugar mills from 6 years to 7 years. At the same time, they have brought into focus the problems faced by the farmers, the workers and the factories in general. This is a very simple measure. 6-year period elapsed in November last. We have taken over 8 mills in the year 1978-79, soon after the main act was passed by the Parliament. The limited object of this amending bill is to gain more time to think how the factories that government has been managing for the last 6 years or so could be handed over to the owners, to the erstwhile management, whether cooperative or private, and the future of the workers and the cane growers could also be ensured simultaneously. At the same time, they could guard against it, if possible, these mills going sick again. This act is a sort of deterrent against mills going sick by various methods. Some of them are fraudulent methods, I do not hesitate in saying, as several of my friends have pointed out. There is leakage of revenues, there is manipulation of accounts, and losses are shown in the balance sheet by methods which are not so desirable. At the same time, some old mills run into genuine difficulties, and we do not want that the farmers of those areas who cannot immediately switch over from one pattern of cultivation to another should suffer. We try to help the industry as well as the farmers and workers through this measure. Honourable members from both sides have pointed out several difficulties. Sir, I admit that this temporary takeover is no remedy for bringing back these mills to permanent health. Ultimately, the government either has to think of nationalization or of putting pressure on the management to modernize these mills. The question of nationalization has been raised from time to time. Even today, some of my friends have suggested that we should resort to nationalization of sugar industry. One honourable member suggested setting up of a commission to evolve a long-term policy for sugar. All I can say at the moment is that nationalization of sugar industry cannot be thought of in isolation from the policy as regards the other sectors of industries. We have to take one view, and we have opted for a mixed economy, public sector as well as private sector. And I am not in a position to say that nationalization, even if government thinks of it, will solve the problem, because we know that our experience with the public sector also is not very happy. Everybody will admit it. Therefore, we have to try and help the industry wherever possible. As regards sugar industry, we are giving preference to cooperatives. In the manner of licensing of new mills, they will be under the cooperatives as far as possible. If in an area where no cooperative societies are set up or no public sector factory comes up, but there is enough sugar cane there, then only we agree to new licenses to be given to the private sector. Now, honourable members will appreciate that the cooperative sector has done very well in the matter of sugar production. More than 50% of sugar production in our country comes from cooperatives. We heard a short while ago one honourable member from Maharashtra asking for nationalization, whereas another member who is also from Maharashtra was opposing nationalization. I do not know how these two views can be reconciled. We have to see that the farmers get remunerative prices. We also agree that there should be a long-term policy on sugar. Sir, there have been difficulties created on account of wide fluctuations in sugar production from year to year. We have seen shortages for years in the past. We have also seen times of glut and overproduction in our country. After the period of Janta rule, the sugar production had come down to only 38 lakh tons from a previous high production of more than 64 lakh tons. Within 2 years, on account of the policies pursued to give remunerative prices to farmers and to help the industry to modernize, the production came up to 84 lakh tons in the year 1981-82. That was the highest production in the world. We try to control the price in free sale also by applying the mechanism of release from month to month, so that if the prices tend to go high, more sugar is released from the factory. We try to see that the difference between the price of levy sugar and the price in the free market does not become very big. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I rise to support this measure. When we talk in this house or outside, we always talk in terms of the farmers. It is a fact that our country is predominantly a farming country. 80% of our population is dependent on agriculture. Therefore, even in the sphere of industries, particularly those which are agro-based, a scientific approach is required. Up till now, it appears that the trend of thinking for industries is mostly in favor of those which are not agro-based. In fact, most of our industries in India, whether they are sugar, textile or jute, are agro-based industries. But particularly with regard to sugar industry, you would appreciate that majority of the farmers, whether they are in the north or in the east or the south or in some parts of the west or even in central India, find that sugar cane growing is becoming more and more unprofitable. It is true that in some of the states where there is canal irrigation or where there is perennial cheap irrigation, people do cultivate sugar. Sugar is one of our agricultural produce which heavily supports our exchequer. Moreover, because of the sugar production, we are in a position to maintain the stability of prices in the country. Therefore, my primary submission would be that we should realize that this industry should survive, progress, and prosper. Its maladies and the causes of its sickness have got to be tackled. For quite a long time, we have been hearing complaints from the farmers that they are not being paid sugarcane prices in time and that sugarcane prices are becoming more and more unremunerative to them. It is unfortunate that in this country, whether it is profitable or not, the farmer is compelled to go on growing his farming products. This is his weakness. He cannot think in other terms. If you apply cost-benefit ratio principle here, you will find, unlike other industries, the farmer has got no choice to divert to other fields. Therefore, this industry needs the utmost attention by the government. My friend from the opposition rightly said that it is well known how the profits and capital of these sick industries have been siphoned off. Today we know that 600 textile mills are suffering because of its maladies and sickness. We know that millions of people are out of job. Similarly, if you do not give specific attention to the sugar industry, the fate of the farmers and workers in the sugar factories would be in jeopardy. Therefore, my submission is that until we make the entire farming community stand on its own legs, our goal of making our economy self-reliant as early as possible will not be achieved. Therefore, sir, my submission is that today we export our sugar at a subsidized rate. People also say that sugar should be made available at cheaper rates in our country. No doubt the interest of the consumer has to be protected. The same thing is happening even with regard to milk industry or dairy industry. The farmers and the women who are rearing animals do not get remunerative prices for milk and milk products. But we want to provide them at cheaper rate because butter should be available at the table for the morning breakfast. Ghee should be available at the dining table at cheaper rates. All these are the demands made by the vocal people. So far, we are going on yielding to the demand made by the vocal people and not by the people who are perspiring on the soil. So far, we have not paid any attention to the difficulties of the farmers. I come from a village and I know the difficulties of villagers. There is no 8-hour shift. There is no dearness allowance with the rise in the price index level. But does it mean that we should not get even the remunerative price for the products he provides, maybe sugarcane, maybe milk, maybe food grains, maybe castor oil, maybe pulses or anything else? Now the time has come when we have to pay attention to their needs and aspirations and see that the farmers get the remunerative price. Of course, I welcome and support this bill, but I would say it will be in the strict relevance of the situation if I impress upon the Honorable Minister and the Agriculture Department in the Government of India to pay more attention to the difficulties of the farmers. Now the time has come that even with regard to agriculture and agro-based industries, a scientific approach and thorough examination has got to be done. Otherwise, the discontent and the poverty that you want to eradicate, you would not be in a position to root out for all time to come. Stop.